Hello YouTube, welcome to episode 2 of Drunken Games. Just where I basically talk about drinking and playing video games, which are two great tastes that go great together. Today I'll be talking about Shiner Bock and Enslaved Odyssey to the West. First start with Shiner Bock, right here. See, nice little label. It's actually brewed in Texas. One of my favorite beers that's brewed here. Kind of little fact, Shiner Bock is Spotzel, which is the company that makes it. It was their flagship beer. They've been brewing it since 1913, almost as long as the brewery has been in business. It wasn't until about 20-30 years ago that Shiner began producing Bock year-round. Before that, it was considered a Lent beer. Today, this is 73% of what Shiner makes. There's your fun fact for today. You learned a little something. As far as taste, last time I did High Life, which is kind of run-of-the-mill, generic, not the best beer, but not the worst. This one, Shiner has a bit of a sharper taste than High Life. Not a whole lot more, but a little sharper. To kind of let y'all know how I'm judging these beers, I created a fancy little graph. And if everything works, you'll see it right there. So on the top left, I list beers that are incredibly sharp and hoppy tasting. If you've never had an IPA or anything like that, I can't describe it. It's really sharp. The bottom left are the thicker bottom right are the thicker tasting stouts. In the middle is right smooth lagers. High Life has more of a watery, a little more flat taste. That's why it's where it is. Whereas Shiner has more of a beer taste with a mild sharpness to it. You know you're drinking a beer, but it's not overwhelming. And I know for all the foodies or people who, you know, basically live beer tasting, I'm using the terms wrong, but it kind of makes sense for me. Alright, anyway, back to the game. I just finished this game yesterday, Enslaved, Odyssey to the West. As you can see, you've got two characters running from a big mechanical dog. In the back of it, kind of just what it says. 2 lives, 2 fates, 1 legendary journey. Play as Monkey, a strong British loner who must work with a tech-savvy partner, Trip, as they traverse a rough post-apocalyptic landscape and survive a perilous journey home. That's an incredibly oversimplification of the simple plot. Basically, in the future, there was some great war, and mechs started enslaving humans. Think the Matrix. But they didn't use humans as a power source. They just basically enslaved them to do work for them. But, you know, 2 people, Trip and Monkey, have been captured and on the way to wherever it is they process people into slaves. But through some big stroke of luck, which always happens, Trip, the tech-savvy girl, manages to escape, and in the crazy explosions, boom, that happens, so does Monkey. Monkey gets knocked out when they land from the ship, which crashes somewhere else, and Trip puts a little slave crown. It's just a crown that doesn't control Monkey, but if he doesn't do what she says, it'll kill him or hurt him. She does that so he will help her get back home through the jungle, which she's not familiar with, and help her fight the mechs. It's pretty simple, and they do the typical Stockholm syndrome. They have Monkey start to kind of care for Trip, not because of the headband, but it really doesn't do anything new. As far as the story goes, it's pretty cut and dry. They try to add a few little plot twists in here, but nothing that really works well. The ending was the ending was nicely unexpected, but not a groundbreaking twist. It wasn't what I was expecting the ending to be, but it wasn't anything that was new, stuff that they've done. It kind of reminded me of the Matrix, not the ending of the Matrix. The ending of the game reminded me of the Matrix movie. So okay, the story isn't that vital to the game. You know, a couple times as I'm playing, I get pretty drunk and forget why I'm at what level, but it's pretty easy to pick up on point A to point B. like I said, a little story, but it doesn't really add to the story. But it's some nice window dressing. Now to the gameplay. Now, just like the beers, I made a little highly technological graph about the gameplay, and like I said, if it works like the beer, it'll show up right there. So as you see, it's at its core a hack and slash game. Just run around and melee enemies. You hit them with the big stick. There's kind of, the stick does have a gun attack. It can shoot stuff, but that's mainly just to kind of break up the monotony of the melee. It doesn't really, you can't use it 100% by itself. So basically to the left of the graph, it's for games only about killing everything that moves. You know, basically games that almost no upgrading, and you just run and kill everything. The middle is kind of the role-playing hack and slash, and the bottom right is for games that are more puzzle than fighting. Now there are puzzle elements to the game, but they're more of a God of War-esque than anything else. The puzzles involve turning switches or hit the enemy here. Very little thought, nothing major. Kinda you can do it, just a lot of trial and error. As far as the RPG element, it's also very basic and akin to God of War. The upgrades are just 2 new attacks and only 1 strength upgrade for all the others. So basically, you'll get a couple new attacks, but it's mainly to make the ones you have just a little bit stronger. And then it does upgrade your shields and health. So not hugely RPG, very, very minor. Next is the one thing that bothers me the most about a lot of games, motivation. Not why am I playing the game, but games that don't really tell you why you should do something until later on in the game, after it's already been introduced. As a gamer, you know, there's certain things you know to do in a game, but you know, it's not explained. I mean, I guess kind of boil it down to what I'm talking about is when you first start the game after the tutorial level, there are red orbs lying around. You're not told what they are, but as a gamer, you know that you better collect them. You're probably going to need them later. Later on, you're told the orbs are for experience. I don't understand why they wouldn't tell you that to begin with, so you would know why you're picking them up. And honestly, the red orbs kind of blend in with the background because it's really vibrant. There's a lot of mechanical mechs flying around, like dragonfly mechs, bird mechs, dog mechs. It makes sense in the end, but kind of confusing at first. And while the game doesn't build itself as a free running game, it does at times feel like it's trying to make you feel that it is. It's at best an on the rails running game. What I mean by on the rails is you have a predefined path and you can only go that way. But you jump, you hop here, so it makes it feel like it's a free running game, but it's not. There's also 2 levels that remind me so much of that fucking Battletoads surf level, where it's 100% memorization and you have to get everything right. That bothered shit out of me. But it's not all bad. It's a decent game. I like how they'll have certain enemies, broken mechs, that if you defeat, they will help you take out the other enemies. Like one of them, you defeat, you can use his gun for a little bit. The other one explodes and kills any enemies around him, and the other one explodes and stuns all the enemies around him. So they do kind of throw a lot of enemies at you at the time, like they'll circle around you. But if you focus on that one, it'll really, kind of help the battle. And it helps it from being just a button masher. Fighting is decent. Get buttons. The controls are responsive. I mean, the only other big major concern I had with it was the camera. It stays kind of like right behind you, but it doesn't move with you. So if you're here and you're fighting an enemy here, the camera will show that enemy, but say an enemy can come up behind you, the camera won't rotate as you attack that enemy. So, it's kind of a pain in the ass, but overall, it's a game worth a play. I got it used, $19. I mean, if you like hack and slash, it's a pretty cool game. Alright, well that's it for episode 2. Next time, I'm reviewing I usually don't buy games brand new. There's very few, but I just got this game. I'm starting to play it tonight actually. Is Devil May Cry for the Xbox 360, and I'll kind of let y'all know how that goes. Questions, comments, anything? Leave it below.